Ow! You complained. Upgrades such as these are painful, Cherie. Be happy I'm doing it. You smiled. It's fine, Camilla. I'm glad you're doing it, actually. The Overlord was currently installing new gear into your body. Anti-angel weapons, to be precise. A lot has happened since you joined the Hazbin Hotel. And sure, while most of the time you spent in rehabilitation training or following your boss/boyfriend around as he was getting into trouble, there still was time for other stuff to go down. Something like this. While you had been having a night out, Charlie managed to get a meeting with the angel overbosses in heaven for an extension for the purge. The result, however, was a group of super pissed off exorcists and seraphim. And Adam, commander of the angel army, declared the Hazbin Hotel to be the first target of the next purge, just because he felt personally attacked by the mere suggestion to postpone the purge just by a few months. What a dick. And not to mention, you also learned that Vaggie, the girlfriend of Charlie, was in fact a fallen exorcist. Sure, not the same thing as the fallen angel Lucifer, yet still something incredibly interesting and powerful. I heard of your propensity for buckshot roulette, Cherie, asked Camilla suddenly. She was currently in the process of installing a crossbow on your arm. Well, you blushed. You were in hell. The only consequence of shooting yourself with a sawed-off was the mess and a terrible headache. Buckshot roulette being a more messy version of Russian roulette, using a shotgun. You had gotten a taste for it after Serpentius gambled away all his money and you needed to step up. It got you around 60k the first time you did it. I take that as a yes, Cherie, scoffed the Overlord. The reason buckshots and blanks were used in hell was due to the slow regeneration of non-overlords. Blowing your head off usually put someone out of commission for a day, so that was always fun. Hey, I stopped doing it after joining the hotel, you complained. She turned around and pulled the helmet out of the box. Well, we will be putting that on that projectile-prone head of yours. You puffed up your cheeks. Fine. Camilla then inserted a weird hook into a hole on your arm. You watched as she turned it, and the crossbow string pulled back. This is merely your emergency weapon, Cherie. A good hit should knock one of them off the sky instantly. You counted. You need to turn the key 10 times to fully pull the crossbow back. Gently, Camilla raised your arm, making small adjustments, before pushing you towards a training dummy. She forced your hand to turn around. As discussed, there's a small compartment in your palm. Remove it. Beneath it is the trigger button. You gulped. Using the same little hook, you opened the compartment. With your ring finger, you barely managed to reach the button. The crossbow made a loud crashing noise as it fired a dart-sized silver bolt into a training dummy. I admit, not my best weapon, but it shoots through their armor. Aim for the head and the angel is dead. Thanks, Carmilla. An easier-to-open compartment was in your other palm. There she had installed a little magnet so you wouldn't lose the hook. I like working with toy demons such as yourself, Cherie. When Charlie told me one of your kind was in the Hazbin Hotel, I just had to come myself and help you out. Oh, Good? She nodded. Yes, good. Working with your kind is like tuning a beautiful instrument of war. With a body like yours, you're all living weapons. Such potential! She spoke with such fervor, almost as if she was jealous of your body. Just a tiny bit. I also quite enjoy your stability. Most of the time, your kind is too lazy to deal with any pain from modifications. So you refuse, or they make a fuss, and then I make mistakes. You didn't do that. I like that, Cherie. You blushed. I noticed, Miss Carmine. Camilla sat down on a nearby chair. I would suggest training your aim as long as possible. Today we're going to set up moving targets on the roof for you. You nodded bravely, before leaving the room and entering the lobby. Camilla strutted to the elevator, though you yourself stopped next to Serpentius, giving him a quick peck on the cheek. Hey, not in front of the egg boys. You giggled. And what are you up to, boss? He pointed at the eggs. They were equipped with stun guns and slingers. As the commander of these most ferocious of eggs, I must make sure they're up to the task. One of the egg boys hit himself with a slinger. Oh, he complained. If you keep doing that, you will kill us all, shouted Pensius angrily. So, now from the beginning. Oh, hey, puppy. That was Charlie. She waved at you, and you turned to her. Come, our combat dresses are here. Odette, the blonde daughter of Carmilla, had taken yours, Charlie's, and Vaggie's measurements last night. Because Serpentius was very adamant on wearing his sailor captain outfit, Husk and Nifty claiming they didn't need protection, and Angel Dust, well, he claimed any armor would slow him down too much. You followed Charlie into the dining room that had temporarily been turned into the armory. Odette sat on a crate, notebook in hand, she scribbled in. Without looking up, she pointed at 3 partition walls. Vaggie on the left, Charlie middle, Poppy right, she muttered. Gulping, you stepped behind the wall. There was a small bench and a mannequin which was wearing what you assumed would be your outfit. Normally you wore black business jackets and neat long black skirts in a similar aesthetic to Serpentius' favorite satin outfit. But that was kinda hot actually. With a finger slid down the outfit. It felt very hard and smelled quite sterile. It was a black leather plate armor, sturdy and light. Its pauldrons fashionable and practical, with intricate silver grain. Red beautiful cloth connected the pieces. But as your gaze lowered, you blushed. Odette? You said as you looked past the wall. With an annoyed expression, Camilla's daughter stared back at you. I think it's missing the pants. No, it's not. Angels go straight for the heart, head, or throat. So Mother wanted to give all 3 of you maximum mobility. No pants. You made a noise of discomfort. It's your funeral, remember. You squeaked, retreating back behind the wall. Shedding your clothes, you put on your armor. Aside from the chest piece, it came with boots that went up to your knees, shielding them with thick leather. Putting this thing on took 20 minutes. And as you looked into the standing mirror behind you, You blushed. Your thighs and hips were unprotected, and only a long red loincloth covered your rear and front. This, plus the helmet you got from Carmilla, you felt like a high fantasy Valkyrie. You loaded your crossbow just to make a few poses with it. And then you stepped out from behind the wall. You were feeling both confident and slutty. Charlie and Vaggie were already done changing. Charlie was dressed to impress in an adorable red cloth dress that just barely showed off black chainmail beneath, while Vaggie wore simple, padded black cloth armor. If anything, you'd call it a hell version of an exorcist uniform. It fit her quite well, actually, and probably would help her to maneuver elegantly across the battlefield. "You two look fantastic!" shouted Charlie. "Why am I the one with the biggest protection here?" You said, concerned. "Because you're the weakest," muttered Odette nonchalantly. "Thanks for the encouraging words," you huffed. But she was right. Charlie, daughter of Lucifer and princess of Hell, was, despite her appearance and demeanor, unbelievably powerful, wielding Hell's energy itself. It really was only her pleasant personality holding her back from being an evil tyrant. And Vaggie? Vaggie had trained countless years under the angels. "We basically want you to shoot our crossbow. The armature's there so you can take a couple of hits while changing cover." "Well, thanks, Odette, for watching out for me," you growled. "I'm just telling you the truth." Dressed up in these combat-ready cosplays, the three of you stepped into the lobby. "Well, what do you guys think?" squeaked Charlie, excited. Immediately, Serpentia slithered over to you. "Puppy!" he shouted in your face, as his claws dug into the leather pauldrons. "I think he likes it," giggled Charlie. "You look fantastic!" From his hip, he pulled out a golden sword, raising it above his head. "Together we will be the hotel's vanguard." You blushed, and smiling, you wrapped your arms around his hips. "Oh, really?" you mused. Panchas's tail twitched excitedly. "Boss, just tell me when, where, and who, and I shall kill them in your name." Panchas pressed his head against yours. "Together, we will achieve great things, my love," he said quietly. His right hand taking hold of your chin, he pushed your head back. "Okay, you two, get a room," grunted Vaggie. "Oh, we will, Vaggie, we will," he chuckled, before quickly giving you a peck on your lips and turning round, raising his sword once more. "Now, however, we must continue our preparations." Who made him the leader?" mused Angel Dust. Your arms hurt, and you are tired. Tomorrow the purge would begin. You had spent the day shooting bolts and swinging a sword, given to you by Vaggie, who had decided the hotel needed more melee fighters, and with your toy arm you could swing it much faster and easier than other untrained demons. When the evening came, everyone got ready for one last drink, and that's when Carmilla picked you up and threw you over her shoulder with a gleeful expression. All she shouted was, "My toy soldier, I have the perfect idea for more weapons!" She clearly was already drunk. Your shouts of "Help me!" fell on deaf ears as everyone was laughing at your misery. And what did Camilla do? She took off your arms entirely, using a meat cleaver. You were in so much pain. She could have at least given you anesthesia. Crying, you watched as the Overlord mutilated them. Or at least, that's what you'd call it. She cut off your hands by your other wrists, and then hollowed out the bones. What are you doing? What are you doing to me? I'm giving you grappling hook hands, Cheery. You blinked. Oh, okay, keep going. It was deep in the night when the Overlord was done. She swiped her brow and reattached your arms. Oh, my little doll, she mused. You'd be the perfect assassin for my company. Now, she looked at you like a proud mother would her child. It made you blush and your heart skipped a beat. A shame you're so obsessed with that snake. I'd hire you on the spot. After some more training, you'd be unstoppable. And I like that. You smiled faintly, but then she regained her composure. I must go now, Cherie. I must prepare myself, should you fail. As she stepped at the door, she turned around one last time. Feel free to swing by my HQ just in case you survive. And that snake doesn't. Right. Anxiously, you watched her leave. Your arms felt even heavier now, but you could feel the strength of the metal ropes that had been shoved into your body with surgical precision. After your heart rate normalized, you returned to the bar in the lobby. Everyone was drinking and making jokes. The only thing that was off here and indicated that this might be the last night was the fact that even Charlie accepted a shot from Husk. The seriousness of the situation was palpable, and only now you truly realized it. You broke out in a sweat. You doing okay? As long as you're here, boss. Sir Pentious smiled and put a hand on your shoulder as he stood next to you. Everyone is doing their best, and I know you. You'll do your best as well. Thanks. Let's just hope the best is good enough. Gallows' humor was really inappropriate right now. Sir Pentious, you asked. Smiling, he returned your gaze. I wanna do it one last time. He blinked, not fully understanding, but after you pecked his cheek, his face turned red. Gritting his teeth, he ordered, Egg boys, I want you to stand guard tonight, just in case they attack early. Charlie raised a hand to tell him that won't be the case, but Angelus quickly leaned against her and put a finger on her lips, whispering, No, just look, see what happens next, Toots. That was all he said. And as the Egg Boys ran outside, you and Pentious went upstairs, hand in hand. Oh, I get it. Maybe I should do that too. Hey, Vaggie, do you have a moment? Sir Pentious picked you up bridal style. Lovingly, you wrapped your arms around his shoulders, gently planting kisses on his neck, as he opened the door to his room with his tail. His bed was bigger than yours, so that was the best place for a little fun time. He gently laid you down on the bed, but as he reached for the leather straps of your armor to take it off, he shook his head. The armor stays on, he hissed lustfully, which made you blush. Sure, it was a little uncomfortable, but the fact your sensitive parts could easily be exposed with it, that was really doing it for him.
I really dig chicks in armor,
he muttered, before planting kisses on your face, like a love-struck teenager. You giggled at his gentle touches. So passionate, you groaned.
Well, it might be our last time together,
he said. And for a moment he stopped kissing you and just looked into your eyes, gently caressing your face with one hand while his other propped him up.
I want you to feel special, just as special as you make me feel, and...
He paused.
Should I die, I want you to remember me positively.
A single tear left his right eye. You furrowed your brows with concern. Softly you touched his face, swiping the tear away with your thumb.
Everything will be okay, boss,
you reassured him.
And should you die, I will follow you.
With determination he gripped your hand.
No, I want you to be happy.
Suddenly he pushed you down by your wrists, his tail snapping before covering as much of your body as he could.
Should I die, I want you to redeem yourself. That's an order.
Serpentius, you hushed.
You deserve to be in heaven, Poppy. Someone as caring and beautiful as you should not waste their time down here.
You narrowed your eyes. What was this feeling? Here he was, and maximum sweetness and cuddliness, and all you felt was rage at his words.
Well, in that case,
you're not dying. You pushed up your knees, tightly wrapping your legs around him before throwing yourself with all your strength against him. Serpentius yelped as you buried the snake beneath you. The man squirmed as he gulped loudly. Either we both die or none of us dies. Got it? This was the first time he was in a submissive position to you. He was completely and utterly mesmerized. He couldn't speak. Almost violently you pressed your lips on the snake, devouring him hungrily. He still tasted like the scotch he had drank before. Of course, you'd never be this forward. But you were drunk, or the power given to you by Carmilla and the alcohol. As heavy as your arms were now, the more you got used to them, the more you turned the weight into physical strength, and you loved it. The power! Your tongue aggressively pushed against his, completely overpowering him. As you were devouring your boyfriend, his fingers snuck down to your hips, squeezing your cheeks tightly, before with the thumbs he pulled down your panties. Excitedly you wiggled your butt in the air before sitting up on top of him. He was now completely out of breath. Your knees squeezing him, you grinned down at the snake demon. You licked your lips hungrily as you reached for his groin. The air reeked of gunpowder and the smell of blood. The cannibals that Charlie had managed to convince to join her side were doing an amazing job of Carmilla's weapons. As expected from you, you stood before the hotel. shooting a crossbow arm to defend the Egg Boys, who used Serpentius' artillery, while he was barking commands. Whenever an angel came too close, you fired. At the beginning of the battle, Alistair, the radio demon, had created a shield of pure darkness around the hotel. It allowed only a limited number of exorcists to enter, as to not overwhelm the few defenders. Through the veil you could faintly make out Commander Adam. His face turned into an angry scowl as he was watching the battle unfold. His patience running thin as he watched angel after angel perish. As a matter of fact, more angels than demons were dying right now. 2 angels suddenly charged forward. Looked like no one else had noticed that. Seems as if no one else had noticed these 2 yet. You raised your right arm, firing the grappling hook as you still haven't reloaded your crossbow. Your eyes widened. You could feel her throat in the distance. And at net-breaking pace, you crushed into the angel, knocking her out cold. Kicking yourself off her body for purchase, you jumped off her. Kicking her body for purchase, you jumped off her onto the other, just barely grabbing her by the ankles. She cursed and kicked you with her other foot as both of you crashed through a window of the hotel.
Oh no, Poppy!
Serpentius shouted after you. The angel was covered in glass shards, a golden blood covering her entire body. Half her mask was broken. Beneath she looked quite human, actually.
You little...
You punched her in the face before she could say anything. Seems like it was true. The angels were so high and mighty. Not only did they wear barely any useful armor, but also spent way too much time monologuing. Your eyes narrowed. Yeah, you would not give her the chance to finish any sentence tonight. All you could think of was, take me serious, damn it. You dodged a brutal charge attack, just barely as well. And as her weapon sunk into the wall that you had stood before just a split second ago, she pulled. And didn't get to do it a second time, as you held the crossbow right at the back of her head. Click. Skull chips, brain matter, and golden blood splattered across the wall. You inhaled and exhaled. So far, the angels had been relatively far away from you. Seeing her body this close up, as her blood spilled on the floor, something in you broke, and you achieved a sort of trance. With a dead look on your face, you jumped out the window back into the battle, ready to kill. Slicing, slashing, stabbing, killing, killing, killing! You're right in the middle. Husk and Nifty were next to you. The winged cat demon was using sharp, angel metal playing cards as throwing weapons, and Nifty carried a simple dagger. You reloaded your crossbow whenever the Cyclops jumped into the face of another angel to give you time, firing with deadly precision, and ramming your sword into any pale-skinned winged creature that came into blade range. Man, with that expression, Husk gave you a thumbs up. Was worried you'd falter under pressure.
She has nothing but murder on her mind. We're kindred spirits. Can I call you Big Sis?
Giggled Nifty. But their words didn't reach your mind. You were too drunken on bloodlust, falling into a rhythm of dancing sword and swishing bolts. You almost didn't notice that something was wrong. Very wrong. The sky was becoming lighter.
The shield is breaking.
Adam is breaking the shield! Shouted Angel Dust. For but a moment it was deadly silent. Everyone stared at Adam, the Angel Commander. Even the exorcists were awestruck. Puppy! Serpentia's voice finally reached you. Your normal thoughts returned, and you realized you were covered in gore.
Poppy, the airship. We throw everything at that prick that we can.
Serpentia shouted down at you, and you smirked. Pointing a grappling hook at your boss, you fired it. His claws wrapping around your wrist. Clashing into him, he used the momentum to twirl you around in his arms and kiss you at the same time.
Come, my love. Let's end this.
You and the snake rushed towards the airship. It had been floating just next to the hotel the entire battle, as an ace in the hole. The angels disregarded it as just mere demon scrap. It was a great, glorious feeling being back in the airship. Serpentia's on the bridge. You rushed to the control panels in the front, already barking familiar orders you haven't given in such a long time. We need all guns ready yesterday. You, check air pressure. And you three, hop on the consoles. And you, be a dear and make me some coffee.
Hey, Poppy,
said Pentious as he pulled the lever that controlled the speed of the propellers.
I love you.
The airship boosted towards Adam. All guns aimed at him. The angel's eyes glowed with malicious intent as he raised a hand. Wait, what was he doing? Adam raised his right hand. It looked like he was going to snap his fingers? Huh. So, this was how a second death felt like. Whatever Adam did had been instant. So fast your nerves didn't activate. And you didn't feel any pain. You were alone. In a void. Floating. It had a strange turquoise coloration. Like the ocean. Like you were deep beneath the waves and yet still too high to see the ground. You didn't know where was up or where was down, left or right. There was no pressure. As you looked at yourself, your hands, your body, or at least where it should be, there was nothing, like your entire being was invisible. You opened your mouth, but then you realized you didn't have one. You touched your nose, realizing you no longer needed it. In this instance, you had turned into the very culmination of your being. Your pure soul. A thing that so carelessly was given away in hell. Was this it? Your second death, the void, was this eternity? You kicked your legs, but nothing happened. After all, you didn't have any. Huh. The feeling you felt in this moment was peace and quiet. Only the rumbling of the endless ocean void could be heard. There was something comforting about it, though. It was quiet and all-consuming. You closed your eyes, and yet not. You no longer had eyelids. But still, why was the void getting more dark? Darker, yet darker. The darkness kept growing, shadows cutting deeper, like knives penetrating your non-existing body in a pleasurable manner. It felt good to be embraced by nothing. It was warm, peaceful, merciful. And once the final trickle of light was gone and you were in pure blackness, suddenly your feet touched the ground. It was sleek, and even your toes curled. Yes, you weren't wearing shoes, but you were on ground. You took a step forward. It wasn't cold, but pleasantly cool. Another step. Somewhere in the distance you saw a bright light. You blinked, and for a moment you saw the dark of your eyelids encroach. You're still doused in blackness, as such you couldn't tell if the rest of your being was back as well, though you assumed it was. Silently you stepped closer and closer to the light, only the pitter-patter of your feet audible. Not questioning your decisions, you stretched out your hand. The light was warm. So warm. Suddenly, you felt an uncanny pull into it. You quite literally were sucked into the light. You were falling through a tube of utter white, face first, and with such speed you couldn't move your head to look at yourself. And then, as quickly as it began, you were spit out through a portal and landed on something, or rather someone, soft. You and the other groaned. They sounded familiar. You held your head. It hurt. You groaned. It was still so bright, your eyes haven't adjusted yet. This is getting out of hand. Now there's two of them, muttered a beautiful, clear, feminine voice. The person under you was warm and smelled familiar as well. And then your eyes finally adjusted. It was someone familiar, yet not the same. He had the wrong colors. Buzz? Puppy? His scales were white, and he was wearing his suit again, not the captain's uniform. It too was white. His eyes widened as they met yours. His lips twitched. "You're as beautiful as ever, my love," he said. "I could say the same about you. You're radiant." You then leaned back, looking down at yourself. Your weapons were gone, so was your armor. You're dressed in a white toga with a golden belt wrapped around your hip. Golden rings were stuck around your wrists and ankles. Your hair had turned white and was now in neatly weaved pigtails with golden bows at their tips. And above your head floated a little cyan blue halo. Ah! You panicked, not quite yet realizing what was going on. Crawling backwards on all fours, the halo followed you as if it was attached to your head. You looked around. The room was golden and clean. A table was to your left. And at it sat a tall angel with multiple wings. A smaller one, roughly your size, had been sitting opposite to the other. She was staring at you and Serpentius with an excited glow in her eyes, like a child staring at its first ice cream. Welcome to heaven, you two! Now wait until Charlie hears this, Seraphim! Redemption is possible! Special thank you to my lovely darlings, Spammy, Raylan, Deathhund, Melofia, Muffin, Aruna, Chloe Rock'n'Mo, Chariot Bunny, D's Nuts, Nicodemus D, Cat Cove, Kea Abyss, BitBit, Sleeptown, Hella, Nexrist, AJ Anime Girl, and Hopeful. Thank you, my darlings, for your continued support. It's very much appreciated.